10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4,
3, 2, 1.
When we share
what we see
through each other's eyes, we can then begin to bridge the gap
between the limited expectations
and the
realities
of
blind abilities.
And the realities of blind
abilities.
Hi folks, Pete Lane. Welcome to another iPhone 101 demonstration from Blind Abilities. Today we dig down deeper into the process of screen recording in iOS. We touched on this feature back in November of 2021, but in this demonstration we'll delve just a little bit deeper, get below the surface, and walk through the step-by-step process. In this episode, we'll learn a little more about what screen recording is and why we might want to consider the iOS screen recording feature, identifying the screen recording element in your Settings app, adding it to your iOS Control Center. We'll talk about how sensitive our built-in iPhone and iPad microphones are and how we can better prepare for an optimal screen recording experience, how to locate and activate the iOS screen recording feature in our Control Center, reviewing the screen recording controls, conducting a screen recording, and finally, we'll learn how to locate and share our completed iOS screen recording. As you can see, we've got a lot of ground to cover, so let's get started. Screen recording is helpful when you need to show somebody what's on your iPhone or iPad screen. Sometimes a mere screen capture, which is simply a snapshot of your screen, will suffice for this purpose. But sometimes an actual video of what's going on your screen will be more helpful in conveying a message or a question to someone else. And of course, with a video screen recording, that someone else will have to have some vision. And with the iOS screen recording feature, you also have the ability to record your voice so you can narrate what's going on with voiceover while conveying the visual screen activity as well. This can be helpful when trying to troubleshoot a problem that a sighted friend might be able to help with, or even the Apple Accessibility or Support hotline. This is often more effective than trying to compose a wordy text or a lengthy email. Another benefit of having a screen recording is that you can do presentations with friends or even in a podcast. And by the way, the iOS screen recording feature is one of the tools that I'm using to record this demonstration. We're probably aware of various recording apps, including the native Apple audio recording app called Voice Memos, where we can record our voices and virtually any external audio source and save it, share it. To some extent, we can manipulate the recording, we can make deletions, we can edit it, we can do some audio enhancements, but that would require opening a separate app. For example, the Voice Memos app, and navigating the separate controls within that app to record, save, and do whatever else we wish to do with that audio recording. That app and others like it are just fine, but we're always looking for alternatives. And alas, there is an alternative, and it can be done very easily by finding the screen recording element, performing a single finger double tap, and voila, your iPhone is recording virtually any audio and video that occurs on your iPhone. This would include voiceover, the sounds that you make when you flick or double tap or perform any other voiceover gesture. It'll capture any video activity on your screen. Additionally, it can record your voice. And in this demonstration, I'd like to quickly show you how to get this done. Our first step will be to add the screen recording feature to our Control Center. And we'll do this by going to our Settings app.
Settings.
From here, we will flick to the right until we're about halfway down our screen to Control Center.
General button. Control Center button.
There it is. We'll perform a single finger double tap here to open our Control Center settings.
Swipe down from the top right edge to open Control Center.
The first thing we'll hear is how to access the Control Center itself. As you heard VoiceOver say, you slide a finger down from your status bar until you hear VoiceOver tell you Control Center. There's an old way that I prefer, Once your focus is in the status bar, which remember is the top strip across any of your screens, and you can access the control center from a home screen or from any screen in any app on your phone or your iPad. From there, I perform a 3-finger swipe up, and I'll again hear VoiceOver say Control Center. Let's look at some of the other controls in our Control Center settings. I'll just flick to the right.
Access within apps, on. Allow access to controls, included controls, heading.
And here we are at Included Controls. It's a heading. We don't need to tap anything yet, but what follows will be a list of items that I have already included in my control center. And as we'll find after I flick a few times, I have already added the screen recording feature. We'll assume that you have not yet added that feature, so I'll point out to you where you will find it and how you can add it. So let's flick to the right.
Flashlight. Actions available. Reorder flashlight. Button. Timer. Actions available. Reorder timer. Button. Low power mode. Reorder low power mode. Accessibility shortcuts. Reorder access. Music recognition. Action. Reorder music. Screen recording. Actions available.
And here we get to screen recording. Now these are all items that I have already included in my control center. So to find additional items, we'll just continue flicking to the right with 1 finger.
More controls. Heading. Insert alarm. Button. Alarm. Insert Apple TV remote. Button. Apple TV remote. Insert dark mode. Button.
This is the list of items where you will find screen recording available. All you need to do is perform a single finger double tap and that item will be added to your control center. So, what do we do next, you might ask? Good question. Rather than close out our Settings app, we'll merely access our Control Center directly now. Place your focus in the status bar. You'll know you're in your status bar when you hear VoiceOver read one of your status bar items. They include everything from the current time to cellular network, your Wi-Fi network, and your battery percentage. Okay, now to our Control Center. Again, you can perform a 1-finger slide down the screen. And you can do that very easily by using the right-hand part of your screen and the edge of your iPhone case to help you go straight down the screen, and then you'll hear VoiceOver say,
Control Center.
Or use my method, which would be accomplished by placing 3 fingers on any part of the screen and swiping up. And again, you'll hear VoiceOver announce Control Center. And I'll perform that action now.
Control Center.
So let's explore.
Control Center. Airplane mode. Switch button. Off. Cellular data. Switch button. On.
These are the first couple of items that I have in my control center. But what we want to find is the item entitled Screen Recording. I have my screen recording toward the bottom of my screen because there's a lot of items in this control center and I don't want to flick 15 or 20 times to have to get to the screen recording element. Instead, I know it's the very last element in my control center screen. So what I'll do is use a 4-finger single tap toward the bottom of my screen to get to the end of the list of items.
Selected. Screen recording button. Actions available.
And there we are. Now let's talk a little bit about what this element holds. As I described earlier, screen recording is exactly what it says. It is actually a video recording, but it can provide an audio recording of any sounds that your iPhone makes. This is really convenient for blind and visually impaired users, since many of us use VoiceOver. A couple of tips. Your iPhone recording will automatically pick up any sounds that you produce, including flicks, taps, and the whole gamut of VoiceOver gesture sounds. It will also provide notifications or alerts, so if you don't want those sounds in your final recording, be sure to turn on Do Not Disturb before you turn on your recording. Also, do what you can to eliminate or at least reduce ambient noise. Ambient noise is the noise that surrounds you, usually confined to the room in which you're recording. So if you have a fan on, an air purifier, anything with an electric motor, or a TV playing from another room, you may or may not be able to hear that, but my son has the TV on in our family room, which is right on the other side of my door. If there's lawnmowers, traffic, things along those lines, obviously you can't do anything about most of them, except possibly move to another room. Air conditioning units, furnaces, boilers can send off quite a bit of background noise that your microphone might pick up. Also, rooms with uncarpeted floors and harsh wall surfaces without soft items hanging on them can cause echoes or reverb for your voice. So if you can find a quiet room, this too can help. but to the extent you can control it, minimize any sound that may be picked up on your recording. So when you get to the screen recording feature, you're placed in an action menu.
Screen recording button. Actions available.
And if you flick up, you'll hear VoiceOver say,
Open controls.
and single finger double tap.
Open controls.
Now, if we flick to the left and go to the top, we'll hear the VoiceOver alert, essentially explaining what I just explained. Flicking to the right, we have several options here, one of which is one that I use regularly, and I'll select Photos.
Selected. Photos.
Now, this enables iOS to send your recording to your Photos app, where it will be available as a video for subsequent action. From there, you can share it, delete it, you can play it, etc. Additional items include
Messenger button.
Facebook Messenger,
Instagram button.
Instagram,
Gmail button.
Gmail,
Zoom button.
and Zoom. It may be possible to record video and or audio from these applications. Due to privacy concerns, Apple has restricted the recording of audio from the Facebook Messenger app, so all you will receive will be the video without any sound. A special note, I have attempted several times to record a Zoom call using this iOS screen recording feature without success. The research I have done indicates that this is possible, and it requires the meeting host to enable screen sharing. However, after several attempts, I have been unsuccessful in creating a screen recording of either audio or video using the iOS screen recording feature. Regardless of whether it is possible or not, it's clear to me that using the Zoom application itself, within which there is a video and audio recording election available to the host, would be much simpler than arranging and securing an iOS screen recording. I have not attempted to secure an iOS screen recording in either Gmail or in Instagram. If you choose to attempt recording in any of those apps, good luck, and let me know how you do it. Right now, you're hearing my voice through my studio microphone and my audio mixer. Once I click to turn the microphone to the on position, I'll let the built-in microphone in my iPhone 13 take over. And what I want you to observe is how sensitive that microphone is. So before you initiate that recording with your microphone, be sure that you've got it in the right position and that your microphone techniques are optimal for a sensitive microphone. One technique that you can use is to avoid breathing or speaking directly into your built-in microphone. Depending on which model of the iPhone you are using, you may have multiple microphones, one of which may be located at the top of the phone near the ear slot. One or more additional microphones may be present at the very bottom edge of your phone. You may want to check your apple.com website for specific locations of the microphones in your particular model. I suggest that instead of speaking directly toward that microphone, that you turn your head slightly to the right or left, and that way your voice will be picked up by the microphone while the breath does not hit the microphone and cause various unwanted sounds such as tsk and things like that. Forgive my technique right there. At any rate, let's turn on the microphone and we'll go from there.
Screen recording heading. Stop recording button. Microphone off button. Microphone on.
And as you turn the microphone on, you now have a recording of both your voice and the voiceover. With that said, I will now stop recording.
Stop recording button.
There's our stop recording. I will single finger double tap, and I will then receive a notification that you will not hear because I've stopped the screen recording that tells me this screen recording video will be available in my Photos app. So with that, I will leave you. Okay. In our final section, let's go find the screen recording that we just did. I'll go over to my Photos app where the completed screen recording was sent automatically.
App switcher. Photos active. Actions available.
I'll then open my Photos app.
Photos add button.
And go to my albums.
Albums heading. My albums heading.
And finally, my recents.
Recents 99 photos. A black screen with nothing on it.
I'll then put my finger in the list of recents.
Photo, September 30th, 2020.
Now, in order to find the most recent of my photos, which of course will be the screen recording that I'm looking for, I'll go to the bottom of the screen with a 4-finger single tap.
Tab bar, search, tab, 404.
And then I'll flick backwards to get to the bottom of the list.
Selected. Albums. Tab 3. For You. Tab 2 of Library. Tab 1 of 78 photos. 20 videos.
Now the screen recording that I want will be the one which I use to complete the previous section in this particular demonstration, in which we will hear voiceover walking us through the Settings app to Control Center and then into the first couple of elements in the Control Center. As you're hearing these videos described, you'll hear the date, and here's the date that we're looking for, July 11th.
Video. July 11th. A black screen with nothing on it.
But the description of the video is a black screen with nothing on it, which indicates that I have my screen curtain activated, which creates a black screen. So let's open this one, and then we'll see what controls we have available.
Video. July 11th. Actions available. Video. Recents. Back button.
And let's flick to the right and see what our controls are.
Play video. Button.
Play video. This is the one I want just to confirm that it contains the voiceover recording of our Settings app. Now, when I tap on the play button to play this video, it will become very confusing for you as you're listening, having to distinguish between my voice here in real time and the playback of the previously recorded video that I'm getting ready to tap on now. So I'll try to point out which me is speaking at any particular time, but it will be confusing. Just hang in there and hopefully it will all make sense when we get to the end. I'll single finger double tap on play.
Play video. Video.
And now we're listening to the video from July 11th. We hear the familiar sound of an app opening.
Settings.
There's our settings.
Notifications. Button. Sounds and haptics. Button. Focus. Button.
Now we hear me flicking to the right, going down my iOS settings app.
Screen time. Button. General. Button. Control Center. Button.
Landing on Control Center.
Swipe down from the top right edge to open Control Center.
Opening Control Center.
Access within apps. On. Allow access to controls. Included controls. Heading.
And flicking through the first couple of items in our Control Center settings. So we now know that this is the screen recording video that I want. And I know this is hard to distinguish whether or not we're listening to a screen recording of voiceover or of me now in real time flicking my voiceover controls. I will now flick on top of the playing video until we find our pause button.
Video. Reorder music. Video. Scanner. Toolbar. Video playback control. Playing 1 minute, 1 second of 3 minutes, 12 seconds.
There it is. Single finger double tap.
Actions available. Video playback control. Paused. 1 minute, 7 seconds of 3 minutes, 12 seconds.
So now I'll show you what our share features are. Flicking.
Toolbar. Share button.
There's our share button. Single finger double tap.
1 video selected. 3, 13. Heading.
And just review these options, which should be familiar to you since this is a typical share sheet that you find all over the place in iOS.
AirDrop button. Messages button. Mail button.
And we hear our various share selections, an AirDrop feature, messages, mail,
WhatsApp button. Facebook button. Messenger button. Dropbox button.
And it goes on with our all familiar sharing items. I don't want to share it at this point, so I'll go to the close button.
Close button.
Single finger double tap.
Recents back button.
Now we're back in our Photos app, and here is our Recents, which is a back button.
Recents back button. Albums back button.
Single finger double tap on Albums.
Albums add button.
And now I will close my Photos app, and I'll land on the home screen.
FaceTime.
And that concludes our final part on where and how to retrieve your completed screen recording. Okay, let's summarize what we learned today. We learned how to select the screen recording feature in our Control Center. We did this in our iOS Settings app, flicking down to Control Center, going through Included Items, and then to More Items, and selecting Screen Recording. And also identified how to activate our microphone, recognizing that it's quite sensitive and that we need to be careful with our microphone placement and our background noise. Finally, we were able to locate our completed screen recording in our iOS Photos app. Thanks so much for listening, and have a great day. For more podcasts with the blindness perspective, check us out on the web at www.blindabilities.com. We're on Twitter. We're on Facebook. And be sure to check out our free app in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store.